Rick, U.S. unemployment is now at 14.7% and could get worse, according to the Treasury Secretary. Are we pushing people to get back to work too soon to save the economy? What are you hearing from your members?
Yeah, so thanks for having us, Rebecca. And I think that the issue that our members are concerned about is when they go back to work, they appreciate being labeled as essential. They appreciate people finally understanding what it is that they do to make our economy run and to really connect us all. They serve us, they bring us our food, they deliver, they grow our food, et cetera. But what they want and what they expect when they're called back to work is an environment that's safe and that puts their safety at the forefront. And my concern with the way we're going back to work is that, number one, it's not in line with the science of what should be happening in terms of the level at which we're opening up. I think opening up in stages is good, but we need to make sure that the worker safety is at the forefront. And number two, and very importantly, people are going to be going back in now in situations that are not safe. Right now, when things are closed, they get their unemployment insurance. When they're called back to work and they're not in a safe environment, they're very concerned about how they're supposed to survive.
Matt, how do you balance reopening and staying safe during a pandemic?
Yeah, this is ultimately a decision that individual governors have had to make. And of course, every state's in a different position. They have different demographics, different geographics, different statistics in their own states. I think if you look at the reopening we've seen across the country, states like Florida and Georgia and Texas, I think, have gotten it mostly right. Texas has been well below the national average in deaths and positivity rates, and that continues to look fairly good. We've had some, geographic outbreaks in areas like Amarillo and El Paso that were very unique, mostly in terms of the agriculture sector, meatpacking sector. But look, I think that in the Northeast and in the national media, there's been too much focus, I think, on the health side of this story and not enough focus on the economic side of this story. That's changing. This story is becoming more and more an economic story. We simply cannot go another few weeks or a few months with the economy shut down. You're going to have half our small businesses shut down, never to reopen. And the government simply cannot provide unemployment funding for tens of millions of people for years at a time. There just isn't the money to do it. So I agree with my colleague here. We do want to make sure these workplaces are safe. And I think no employer wants to bring their employees back to an unsafe workplace. But I do think the threat of lawsuits is a real problem. It's one of the reasons why some businesses have chosen not to reopen, even though they can. And so a liability shield for businesses that reopen that's narrow, that's temporary, that's focused on coronavirus makes sense to protect small business.
Okay, we are out of time, but thank you both for coming in, or actually being with us and sharing your perspective.